Hello everyone, it's really good to see you here all. So today we are going to talk about a comprehensive guide to placement preparation for software companies. Okay, so whenever we do something, it's very important to understand why are we doing that. So in the same way, if we are talking about placement preparation, then here we have to know why are we doing that. So the key important points that has to be noted here is it helps students to actually get to know about how software companies hire, the different stages of placement, technical interviews, written tests, HR interviews and so on. So this will prepare yourself in that particular environment so that you don't hesitate in the actual interviews or the process. So doing something extra can actually help you to get whatever you want. In the same way, doing all the preparation prior help you to get your dream job. Okay, so the main step that we have to start with is to self-assessment and goal setting. So firstly, you have to assess yourself, like which of the key elements you already know or which of the key things that you have to know till now or you want to learn. Like if you are focusing on SDE companies, then the main important thing are programming obviously, and the second one is data structures and algorithm. So the concepts of that would be very helpful for you in order to crack all those companies. So you have to work upon your data structures, problem solving, and the most important, communication, because we generally ignore this part, but yeah, it actually have a very high weightage because it actually gives you a way how you present yourself in front of anyone. Let's suppose you are giving an interview in front of an interviewer and you are lagging. So that's not a very positive reflection, right? So the same way you are doing your technical skills preparation, you also have to do your communication skills preparation. Identify your strength and weakness and work upon it. Okay, so now let's talk about what are the different things that you have to work upon in order to get placed. If you are focusing for an SDE company, then knowing data structure and algorithm is a must. So you have to firstly start with any programming language, either it's C++, Python, Java or anything. Just learn the concepts of data structure and try to implement it. Also practice your coding the more you can. You can use different platforms like Zlozie Code, HackerRank, GFG and so on to get your preparation done. Once you have done your practice of coding and learning data structures concept, now it's time to learn more about some fundamental topics like OOPS. Object-oriented programming is very important by the interview point of view. System design is a very important concept that is frequently being asked in the interviews nowadays. So you have to learn about low-level system design and also high-level system design. Along with that, you can learn about SQL and also whatever the new tech that is trending here. For example, Next.js is very demanding nowadays. Likewise, you can learn about web development, game development, open source and so on. Okay, so now talking about data structures and algorithm. So it is the backbone of any technical interview. So you have to have knowledge about different data structures. You can start with array, linked list and then move ahead to learn about the graphs, trees and so on. If you are learning some new concept, try to implement it using coding practice on different platforms. Not only understanding a concept is important, but at the same time, practicing the same is a key to success. That's why you can use the different platforms like Zlozie Code, HackerRank, GFG and so on to have a more experience programming. Try to take part in different coding challenges like Zlozie Code normally do or conduct weekly and bi-weekly contests, and similarly you have so many different platforms. So just practice, and this would help you to actually crack the coding round that has given by the SDE companies. So once you have done your preparation for the coding rounds, now you have to also prepare for the interviews. So directly going in interview is a terrible decision, right? So before going into any interview, try to have yourself comfortable with the mock interviews and group discussion. And this you can do by having your friend as an interviewer and you as the student having a real interview discussion with the same interview environment. That would actually help you to make yourself comfortable with the interview environment, and it actually boosts your confidence. Along with that, it also provides you an opportunity to practice expressing opinions, listening actively, and collaborating effectively with peers. And this is a whole thing that is really very important if you are going in any interview, because that is what the interviewer looks into you and wanted you to express to him or her. As a student, we all make projects, right? But making a project and actually representing it to the interviewer is a totally different thing. If you have built some software, very important software, something like YouTube, something like Instagram, but you are not able to present it correctly in front of interviewer, then there is no point. And all thing makes point only when you showcase that. And GitHub is very important tool which can help you to showcase your project. So try to host each and every project that you are doing on GitHub, so that whenever you are presenting yourself in the interview would get to know what projects or what type of tech stack you have actually used inside it. It would be helpful for you as well as the interviewer to understand the whole project. You can explain the whole project by showing it to the interviewer and they can easily understand it. So it's a very important key point. After making the project repo, you have to actually add that in your resume or portfolio so that it is easily available to access. Now, once you have done coding practice, once you have done DSA, once you have done different projects, now it's time for you to build your resume. So, in resume, highlight the relevant skills and experience you have in the software industry, and also try to add all the key points that is being given in the description of the company you are applying to, because their software is designed in such a way that during the resume filtration process, your resume would get rejected if it don't have that points. Present yourself at the best in the resume. Try to add something more extra apart from what everyone is doing. For example, adding technical skills is almost everyone is adding, right? But apart from this, you can add some open source contribution, you can add some achievement that you have got, the different rank you have on different coding platforms and so on. Whatever the additional thing you can provide, just to add it to the resume. As I said earlier, adding links to personal profiles actually help you to make a bit more professional and also a bit more smarter. Once you have done all this, you have to also keep in mind that behavioral interviews is a part of the interview and you have to prepare for it. So, try to research about the different question statement that has frequently been asked in behavioral interviews, and also try to research more about your company, like what type of behavioral question they are frequently asking. For example, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's your hobby? How you manage pressure? And so on. There are so many different questions that are available. But the only thing we do wrong here is that we think that we already know it and we'll directly tell to the interviewer. But that's not going to happen, because we are in a pressure environment when we are sitting in an interview, right? So we have to prior prepare each and everything so that we don't have to think anything there. We have to just say. And that actually gives a very positive impact on the interviewer that we are very highly prepared. To give the answer of behavioral question, try to add that question with your past experiences in order to come to a conclusion. Because that actually sounds very real, and also it's very easy for you to learn that. Always use STAR technique to answer any question. Learn more about STAR technique and implement it beforehand. Okay, now let's talk about the very important thing, that is nailing the technical interview. So, whenever you are being in a technical interview, just don't think that whenever you are writing a code, the interviewer already know that you are writing a for loop and he or she already familiar with for loop. Don't prior assume anything. If you are writing a simple for loop, try to explain that to the interviewer, and for the whole interview process, speak out loud, because that's very important. Don't just blindly write a code and then at the end try to explain that to the interviewer, because that's not a positive move. Whatever you are thinking inside your head, just speak out loud. Whatever you are writing, explain each and everything to the interviewer. So your problem solving approach should be very important. Start with the brute force approach and slowly just optimize it. Once you reach to the conclusion, just explain each and everything, and do try to add extra effort, that is telling time complexity and space complexity is very important. Now, clear communication is the key. Whenever you are stuck at some problem, try to discuss it with your interviewer, because they are actually there to help you. So just don't hesitate and ask. Clear all your doubts, because then only you are going to move to your conclusion. Don't just prior assume anything. If you are not clear with the problem statement, ask it again, because there are many cases that happen that one student actually listens something and later on with that understanding he come to some conclusion, but later on it may be the possibility that actually it was not the question. So clear communication is the key. Practice and practice, because giving so many different mock interviews, coding challenges regularly helps you to gain more confidence, and it will really going to reflect whenever you are sitting in your actual interview. So in each and every interview, you are going to get 2 questions for sure. First question is, tell me about yourself. And the last question is, do you have any question for me? So for these 2 questions, you have to have an answer. So just prepare these 2 questions first, because that's the only 2 questions that everyone is going to ask. Whether the interviewer is very interested in asking behavioral question, or the interviewer is totally technical, that he or she may not be very fond of asking behavioral question, but these 2 questions are the most important question that each and every interviewer is going to ask you. So prepare it well. Tell me about yourself, and do you have any questions? Don't just say that you don't have any questions and everything is good. Just try to ask question, because that helps the interviewer that you are actually interested in that position and you are actually digging some past projects, because you are having a background knowledge of that company. And the most important, clarify the question and always seek the feedback from the interviewer. If you are doing something in the middle of the interview and if the interviewer is suggesting something, try to keep that feedback, because most of the time the interviewer is trying to help you to get to a solution. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so this is a brief description of what you have to do for an interview preparation if you are targeting SDE companies. If you want to know more about it, or if you have any questions, please comment it down. And also, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. And thanks for watching.